Wednesdays are for people's elbows, super kicks, and springboard cutters. You know what that means. It's the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast hosted by Michael Davis on Boom Broadcasting, and it's time to pick up that mic. Welcome to the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Michael Davis. And in 2024, we've been conducting interviews with some loved people in the wrestling business. When we moved to Boom Broadcasting, we had JAC and Jack Tatum on Drop the Mic, interviewing about their work in the Carolinas. In JAC's case, out of the country. Today, I have someone who has spent some time out of the country this summer. He went to Germany for a weekend. He's going to be out of the country again next week, but he's back in North Carolina for my local people, and he's defending the SCC World Championship against a former TNA and WWE superstar, Austin Aries, at Squared Circle Champions. It's going to be at Mount Pleasant Elementary School for Fall Fury this Saturday night, September 21st at 7 p.m. I know him as Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews, but you have come back with a new identity, perhaps a new perspective on this world. I would love to introduce the world to Roosevelt.
Absolutely, man. New mindset, new perspective, new everything. Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews has been good to me. The character, the persona. I've done some amazing things with that character in the last 15 years. It's time to give Roosevelt a chance to play.
It's time to give Roosevelt a chance to play. So I gotta ask first. Again, I told you before we went on air, if I have an Adam Copeland edge slip up, forgive me, please. But this is new to you. Obviously, being Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews, saying it was good to you, and now you're going into Roosevelt. What made you transition into the person you are today?
Great question. So Roosevelt is my real name, and it was actually, and I'm going to put all blame on him. So any wrestlers or any fighters that get in the ring with me and they feel like they've done got their behinds beat for a good amount of time and they can't keep up with me, blame Sir Mo. Okay, Sir Mo is a WWE legend. From Men on a Mission. He is like an uncle to me. He's like one of the greatest guys I could ever meet from the legends of legends, who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. Him and Mabel, King Mabel, Viscera, Big Daddy Cool, V. So I was booked on a show for him. He runs a show out in Texas, SOAR Championship Wrestling. He runs a large organization called the OIWA. And I was booked for a show. And they gave me the flyer, and on the flyer, it had Roosevelt versus my opponent. And I sent a message, hey, man, the flyer looks amazing, looks great. But you guys put my real name up there. I wrestle as Victor Andrews. And Unc responded and said, I'm not changing it. Cut a promo, be mad about it. I was like, what? How do you just say that? So I did. I cut a promo. And it felt so natural and so me when I did it. I said, you know what? I've been Victor Andrews for 15 years. I've been on WWE. I've been on AEW. I've been on Ring of Honor. Let me see what I can do as Roosevelt. And a funny thing, too, a little backstory. When I went and did NXT for the very first time, they actually gave me a lot, like more than what I was expecting. They came to me, they spoke to me and said, hey, you're in a match. You're going to be in a match with Heavy Machinery as you and Lars Sullivan in a tag match. You got a promo, so we're going to have you do a promo as well. And what name do you want to go by? I've never known them to ask any extras. And I was just an extra talent. Like, I wasn't even signed to the company. So what name do you want to go by? And I said, well, I wrestle as Victor Andrews. And it was Steve Corino at the time. He was my producer. And he said, well, Triple H loves your real name. He thinks it's the coolest name he's ever heard. I said, oh, cool, okay. Oh, I still want to wrestle as Victor Andrews because that's all I've known as a wrestler. And I feel like I missed my big opportunity by not wrestling under my real name because it's what they liked. So 7 years later, Sermo did the same thing, and it has changed people's perspective. It's made a lot of the guys look at me like he was a problem before. Like we couldn't keep up with him. He gets out there, he gets busy. He's an amazing wrestler. But now as Roosevelt, that's something different. And I wrestle in a suit. So I wrestle in a legit dress suit. It's not gimmicks. It's not no wrestling gear. It's a suit straight out of my closet. I throw it on. I'll get in the ring. I do my thing. And I have this moniker. If you see me walk to the ring in a suit, just know that I'm standing on business. But the moment I take the shirt off, business is about to get handled. And when I do it in the ring, the fans kind of grasp on it immediately like, oh, uh-oh. You're in trouble now because he done took the shirt off. Now he's getting serious. So it's been working. I've only been doing it for, let's see, I debuted Roosevelt back in April, this past April. So it's been getting a lot of really good response. When I went to Germany, they didn't know who I was or anything. And I walked through the curtain and they was like standing ovation. They was excited to see me and everything. So yeah, Roosevelt is a whole different animal. He's a monster. He's a true fighter. I have a background in boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've done some MMA. So whenever I'm Roosevelt, that's the energy that I'm bringing. I'm bringing the energy that, yeah, we can wrestle. We can do some chaining. We can do some nice spotty stuff and stuff like that. But when I need to turn it on, you should probably run.
You're going to turn it on.
I'm going to turn it on.
That is so cool. Roosevelt being your first name, and your real name. And I go by my middle name. People can see the X hashtag right there, the X handle. It's B_Michael Davis. And I tell everybody it's because everyone wants to be Michael Davis. But that. Thank you. But there's so many Michael Davises in the world. And Victor Andrews is not entirely as common as Michael Davis, but you stand out with Roosevelt. Is there a reason why you didn't want to use your first name when you're getting into the business?
Yeah. So when I first started, I had this really horrible gimmick. It was horrible. I was 150 pounds and I was trying to be like this android that couldn't get hurt. And it was a group of guys that were 6'4", 340 pounds. It was like, so if I hit you, you're not gonna feel any pain. And in reality, yeah, I wouldn't, because when I was boxing guys that was twice my size, and I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any problems with them. I was beating them up. So I was like, nah. And it was like, well, that's not going to work in wrestling. It's not believable. And when I first started, I was still modeling and I was still acting at the time. So I wanted to separate the two. I wanted Roosevelt, Mr. Everything, the model, the actor, to have one, stage, and I wanted Victor Andrews to have a different stage. I didn't want the two to mesh together. But now, looking at it in hindsight now, I wish I did it a long time ago.
Wow. Dude, that is awesome. Like you stepping out and being like, hey, this is me. I'm not having to hide behind another name anymore. And there's wrestlers obviously who, go by, other names. I mentioned Edge earlier. Like he went by Edge for so long and now he's transitioned to his real name. It's definitely intimidating, like putting yourself out there like, hey, there's no facade, there's no character name. This is me. I love to fight. And dude, it's really awesome. I'm excited to see, where this next chapter takes you. And you mentioned Sir Mo, you mentioned King Mabel, Viscera. And I know she called Sir Mo Unk. Was that one of your early inspirations when it came to your wrestling career launching?
Absolutely, man. I remember watching him when I was a kid. And the first time I met him in person, he came to a wrestling show in Wilmington. It was Masters of the Ring Entertainment. And my son's mother and I were together at the time. And it was before my son was born. And now I want to say he was born around that time. And in fact, the picture is right here.
We get the picture. We get the visual aid.
Yes. So he watched my match. And we had to leave. I think I had another show right after, so we had to leave immediately after. So I didn't get a chance to speak to him. But he watched my match. He kept talking to some of the guys about me, and he gave my son's mother this picture right here. And it says, let's see. To the pro wrestling messiah, Victor Andrews, best of luck. And then on the back, it says, love the look, Black Jesus. And to this day, he calls me Black Jesus. To this day, he really thinks that I'm Black Jesus, which is fine with me. I take it all day. what higher accolade can you get than being called, Jesus?
I know.
So he's been an uncle to me from Jump Street. Whenever I would reach out to him and say, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? And when he started bringing me in to Texas and Arkansas to work for different companies, it was instant. Like, it wasn't, okay, we're going to try you out, see what you do. The first match I did, it was like, we know you can get busy. We're going to put you in with our top guy, Dante Smiley. Me and him went out there and got busy. Called on, saying, I appreciated it. The show was amazing. The match was amazing. He's like, I know. I said, well, I just want to say thank you. So you ain't got to thank me. No, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming out here. And I'm going to get you on more. And Unc has pushed my career so high. Like, he's the reason why I went to Germany. He's the reason why I'm going to the UK. He's the reason why I'm going to Italy. Like, he's made me the SOAR heavyweight champion, out of nowhere. Like, I didn't even know I was even competing for the belt. I beat Congo Kong from TNA. Oh. I beat him for the belt. I didn't even know I wasn't even competing for it. Like, it won't until I was going to walk through the curtain and they're saying this match is for the SOAR World Heavyweight Championship. I was like, what? Okay. I guess they changed the outcome because I thought I was winning. Okay, not a problem. And then when I walked out and won the belt, I was like, I just won this. I don't even live in Texas. How am I the champion for a company that's in Texas? I don't even live in Texas. And I messaged Ung and I said, thank you so much. He said, for what? I said, for trusting me to be the champion. He was like, it's about time. It's time. You need to be recognized. He said, I want you to go to Germany. I want you to take the belt out there. We went to Germany. I defended it. So now I've become a world champion because I defended another country. And he wants me to take it to Italy and defend it. I'm going to the UK to defend that title and compete for the European title. So Unc has really gotten behind me in a big way. And I think he saw a lot of different things with the name change. Like, he saw it like, okay, yeah, Victor Andrews is cool. I want to see what Roosevelt could do. And I was like, you sure? You sure you want to do that? Because I don't want to see what Roosevelt can do. I don't know what Roosevelt can do. But a lot of the guys that watch the match and they see me walk to the ring, even the guys in Germany, it was like, you're wrestling in a suit? It's like, yeah. So is that like a wrestling suit? Like, is it gimmick? Is it like, breathable? It's like, no, it's a regular suit out of my closet. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, I want to see how this works out. And then when I walked to the ring, the whole persona, the demeanor, everything, it was like, yeah, that's intimidating. This man is walking to the ring in a suit. That's intimidating. And then I wrestle and I do my thing like I did in Germany. I went out there, we had the match, walked to the back. The guys looked at me, was like, was that okay? Everybody like that? And was it okay? And it's like, yeah, man, yeah. And the guy, the promoter, Aaron, he was like, yo, who is this guy? And Uncle was like, what you mean? He's like, yo, just Roosevelt guy. Like, he just went out there and wrestled in a full suit. He comes back through the curtain, no sweat on him. He's not breathing heavy. He's not tired. Who is this guy? And Uncle was like, oh, that's just Roosevelt. That's just Roosevelt. And he likes to fight. So what do you want us to say? So it's been an amazing journey so far, man. And this Saturday, Austin Aries get to find out firsthand what it means to step in the ring with Roosevelt.
Oh, and that dude, I am so excited for that. I got the visual when we were talking. Did you ever watch Lilo and Stitch?
Yes.
Dude, do you remember that guy? I think his was like Cobra Bubbles,
Uh-huh.
who was always in the suit. I
Yeah.
just got that visual of like how intimidating. Like when he showed up on screen, I was like, he's this guy. He just shows up. He's got a suit. You don't want to mess with him. That's the visual that popped in my mind. Austin Aries, the match on this Saturday. And we'll touch on that for sure. But you mentioned, your trip to Germany. You're making other trips around the world, being a true world champion.
Mhm.
Kind of like a little sidebar from the wrestling topic, because I've always wanted to go to Germany. That's
Mhm.
where my dad was stationed in the military. So I would like, that is my dream country to go to. How was it?
So I almost didn't go.
What?
I almost didn't go. Every summer I run a fireworks tent. I sell
Oh,
fireworks. And it was the same week that I had to go to Germany that the fireworks tent was run. And I was like, I can't leave. I can't leave knowing that this tent needs to be ran. And I had a group of people that worked for me every year. And I was like, I'm not gonna leave y'all with this tent. And they was like, no, man, go. Like, go do what you gotta do. Like this, you've been waiting for this. Go. And I'm so glad I went. It was amazing, bro. Simply amazing. Like the hospitality from the company was amazing, top notch from pick up to drop off. Like picked me up, took me to get something to eat, took me to the hotel, took me to the venue. After the show was done, we went to the city. Um, the World Soccer tournament was happening around that time. Like it was like the World Cup or something like that. And Germany was in the tournament. So everybody out there was like, yo, we're going to the bar, we're going here, we're going there, we're going to go see Germany play, we're going to go cheer them on. Like the entire city was just out there, like amazing. Um, it was and wrestling fans out there is totally different from wrestling fans here. To the
mm.
standpoint of uh, the U.S., the American fans, in my opinion, are spoiled because Germany doesn't get a lot of wrestling,
I
right?
agree. I 100% agree. That's why we're seeing WWE, tap into the international audience,
Yes,
having, France, having Puerto Rico. They just were in Germany last month for Bash in
yes,
Berlin, and it's making pay-per-views so much better. I even saw somebody comment on social media. They were like, after this great, international crowd, can't wait to go back Monday Night Raw and just see what chants. And sure enough, Monday rolled around and we got the what chants when somebody was cutting a promo. And I'm like, guys, why? Like,
right, right.
why? We're missing the boat.
And they love wrestling so much. The show was originally scheduled to start at 7, like 6, 7 o'clock. Same time the soccer game was happening. You know, they contacted the company, it was Fight Back Wrestling. They contacted the company and asked them, would they mind pushing the show up to 4 o'clock so the fans can come and watch the wrestling and still make it out to go see soccer? And we packed the
Wow.
house. The building was packed.
Wow.
Building was packed. Like never seen anything like it before. Never seen. And I mean, when I tell you they're on their edge of their seats and they're standing and they're chanting and they're clapping and cheering, and I was like, yo, this is it. Like this is it. Like I can get used to it. I'm going to get used to this. I'm going to get used to this because there's no other feeling like this. Like I watched it on TV when they went to Puerto Rico and how the fans was acting. I saw it when they went to France and how the fans was acting. And I was like, yeah, I want to experience that. And I got the chance to experience it. And it's
Dude.
amazing. It's amazing. The city is beautiful. The people are really cool. We were in Frankfurt, Germany.
Yeah.
And when we got done with the show on Saturday, we went straight to the city to go get something to eat. And we walked by all these bars and restaurants and people sitting outside the grocery store watching the game on TV. And when Germany won, they won that night. People were blowing their horns. They were outside. They were just cheering and making noise. And we were on our way back to the hotel. We was like, you know what? Let's join them. And we did. And we had the most fun I think I could ever have without having to go to a club or anything. Like, we were just outside on the street yelling and chanting. I didn't even care about the soccer game, okay? But the fact that these people were outside and they were cheering, they were, just, yeah, blow your horns and flags in the air and music playing. Man, listen, it was like you didn't know that you were strangers. You didn't know you were strangers, and it was so much fun, man. I can't wait to go back.
Dude, that sounds like just an electric atmosphere that I'd want to be a part of. I really wish I had gotten Germany for either that show or Bash in Berlin. Bash in Berlin was like right my birthday weekend too. So I was like, Dad, can we? He's like, no. But hopefully he'll come around. We'll get to do a dad and son trip. He was stationed in Germany. That was my idea. So with you becoming, basically world renowned now, going to these different countries, I've also seen you become a little social media renowned a little bit. I've seen some social media videos where Roosevelt is sending his challenges to people across the world. I've seen a Brock Anderson challenge, but I've also seen a few videos challenging somebody on his retirement tour. You're challenging John Cena. You're stepping up to the plate immediately. What's got you super confident in challenging Cena in his last year of wrestling?
Well, just running back to SummerSlam when he went out and he made that announcement that he was retiring. He literally said, whoever wants some better hurry up and come get some. I took it as you talking to everybody. Just you talking to me? You must be talking to me. Okay, you talking to me. All right, not a problem. So why not? Why not challenge John Cena? I think a lot of wrestlers, independent wrestlers, top guys, WWE, whatever. I think they feel like there's this wedge and there's a bubble and there's a line that you're not supposed to cross, right? If you're an independent guy, you stick with independence and you wrestle them and you challenge them. If you're on the tops, you wrestle with those guys. And if you get hired by WWE as an extra talent, you come in, you just do the job that you need to be done, and then you go away. I don't like that. I don't feel like that should be the narrative. John Cena made a challenge. Why not answer it? If I get the match, absolutely wonderful. Doesn't take away from him, adds to me. It actually adds to him as well, because now he's saying like, I legit am trying to bring up the next generation or the next wave of superstars. Because for so long he's been labeled as the guy that buries guys and steps over the next one, and he will walk over his grandmother just to get to the next spot, type of thing. If he takes the match, that goes away. That label goes away, because who am I, right? If he doesn't take the match, all right, whatever. But at least they know I'm out here. So it's a win-win for me. Whatever happens for him, happens for him. It's a win-win for me, because they see my promos, they see me out there, whether friends, family, supporters, whatever, share it or not. It's out there. And I've tagged him on Twitter. We follow each other on Twitter, which is now called X. We follow each other on X. He's seen my promo. There's no doubt that he hasn't seen it. R-Truth is a really good friend of mine. I've had him on the Best Damn Wrestling podcast. I've seen him on different shows. I've had interviews with him. I've talked to him with the Fleet DJs when I was a part of that organization. He's seen one of the promos and he liked the video on Instagram. Now, the whole story is that John Cena is his childhood hero.
I think that's a true story.
So he's more than likely have shown John Cena hey man, look, you see this guy calling you out? Somebody's seen it. I've tagged Triple H. I've tagged WWE. I've dropped a lot of hashtags. Hashtag Fight Me Cena. I put it on TikTok. I put it on X. I put it on Instagram, Facebook. I put it on my YouTube channel. I've got it everywhere, and I'm going to keep dropping videos until somebody tells me, "Hey, you got to stop." I'm just going to keep dropping videos.
And why
And
not?
if he doesn't answer, guess what? I'll just move on to the next one. Not a problem. Who's my next target? Joe Hendry. That's my next target, Joe Hendry. Why? Not because he has such a big following or he got all these things that's happening for him, because I just don't believe. I don't believe in Joe Hendry. I didn't believe it when they said it with Beetlejuice. I didn't believe it when they said it with Candyman. I don't believe you just say somebody's name and they disappear. Joe Hendry. He's not here. So I'm calling everybody out. And with the crossover with WWE and TNA happening in a big way, and AEW has Ring of Honor, New Japan is working with different organizations out in Japan. Why not? Why not the independents cross over to the big leagues and start wrestling some of these superstars or guys that's in the big organizations? Why not? Why
And
can't that happen?
as wrestling fans, we would benefit. Like, we would win as wrestling fans. And that, like you said, it's a win-win for you. And especially since Triple H has seen your name before, Roosevelt, and see like, hey, let's see who this guy, let's see what he's made of. And I would be absolutely ecstatic to see you part of John Cena's retirement tour. So I know, like, you got a few names in your mind, and Cody Rhodes obviously made this infamous list. Before this interview, I made my own list for
Okay.
who I wanted to see Roosevelt wrestle. I don't know if you want to hear it now.
Absolutely, let's do it. I'm interested. Let's see.
So obviously, the one name you're going to knock off this weekend is Austin Aries. And I've had that on my list ever since I saw him on the Best Damn Wrestling podcast that you help host. I've got John Cena at number 2, obviously, since the videos, and then Brock Anderson at 3. Those 3 names, obviously, very familiar to you. I've been able to meet Brock and his father Arn, several times. And then I'm like, Roosevelt likes to fight. Let's get Sheamus, if we're crossing the WWE barrier. And then why not? Let's get Fit Finlay back in the ring.
Yes.
One more time versus Roosevelt. And then I'm like, okay, we've seen some of these guys, make independent appearances themselves. Nick Namath just wrestled Brad Attitude at AML. I'd love to see Nick Namath versus Roosevelt. Namath falls short against Brad Attitude at AML a few weeks ago. I'm sure Roosevelt would be a good one. And then if you're talking about one of the best in the world right now, 5-star matches, 6-star, 7-star, however many stars Meltzer wants to add to the rating, Will Ospreay.
Yes.
Get you in AEW too. Like, I want to see Roosevelt everywhere, whether it's all around the globe or in these different companies.
Okay, I like that. That's an amazing list. I have a little list as well. Bobby Fish.
Okay.
Aleister Black, Kyle O'Reilly, Bryan Danielson, Swerve Scott. If we move over to WWE, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Cody Rhodes.
Before or after they split up?
Don't even matter. Both of them.
Handicap match.
Both times. Carmelo Hayes. And we cannot, I would be disrespectful if I did not mention our very own Javon Evans. Right?
Dude, he's killing it right now.
He is killing it. I'm so proud of him. So proud of him. Like, he's really out there getting busy. He's really out there getting busy. And it's amazing to see him do it in such a fast, in a short time frame. He's got pushed very, very fast. And he is showing that he can hold his own with everybody. I don't think he's had a bad match yet, and I don't think he ever will. He's holding his own. He's getting out there. He's getting busy. I'm very, very proud of him. Mark Coffey.
Okay.
Mark Coffey. TNA. Kenny King.
Okay.
I want Kenny King.
That would be awesome.
Joe Hendry, of course. And
he didn't appear, but that's whatever.
Yeah, I know.
He's ducking you.
He's afraid. And if we want to bring back some of the old ones, Samoa Joe. I would love to get in the ring with Samoa Joe. Taz. I would love to be able to get in the ring with Taz. Like, can you imagine the dynamic of what we could do? Me and Taz? Man. Both from Brooklyn? Yeah. Yeah. Let's have a fight to see who's the king of Brooklyn. Roosevelt versus Taz. The guy from Red Hook versus the guy from Brownsville. Let's see who's better.
Roosevelt versus Taz. If Taz can't, would you settle for Hook? I don't know if settling's bad because he's on the come up too in AEW.
I'll take Hook. Because here's the thing. I get in a ring with Hook. I beat Hook. Taz has to respond. If someone wrestles my son and he called me out first, but then he wrestles my son and he beats my son, I'm going to respond. I have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have to. So Taz, Hook, whichever one comes first. What's up?
You got to defend your family. Much like you're going to defend the SCC Heavyweight Championship this Saturday, September 21st, Fall Fury at Squared Circle Champions. It's in Ferguson, North Carolina, Mount Pleasant Elementary School. If you guys have been to any of these shows, it's at that same location that we've been in for much of the year. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I will be doing commentary along with the host of Quick Hits on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel, Shan Smith. Me and him are going to be commentating the action, and it's a huge show. All the titles are being defended. The tag team titles, the SCC Ladies title, and then, of course, the main event right here, Roosevelt. I believe this is Roosevelt's first defense of the SCC Heavyweight Championship. It's a different animal. It's a different breed. But, dude, this has been absolutely incredible because I remember the first time I got introduced to the Best Damn Wrestling podcast was actually your interview with Austin Aries, and I came away from that. I'm like, what if? What if? And now that what if is a reality. You're wrestling Austin Aries this Saturday. How did this come about? Of course, Austin Aries won the number one contenders match the last time he was in Ferguson. But, I mean, this is obviously not the first time y'all have crossed paths just in general, but this might be the first time you cross paths in the ring.
Yes, this is the very first time we get to cross paths in the ring. I take a page out of Tim. I take a page out of his book, and I always say manifestation, right? We manifest things that we want to happen. I first met Austin Aries when I was part of Control Your Narrative, and I talked to him, and we had a psychoanalysis is what we used to call it, a psychoanalysis interview with EC3. And we sat down and we talked, and EC3 looked at me and he said, who do you want to get in the ring with? And this is when Adam was still there, Braun Strowman. This is when he was still there. And he said, who do you want to get in the ring with? I said, of course, the top three, EC3, Adam, and Austin Aries. I said, but I would love to have Austin Aries first. I would love to get in the ring with Austin Aries. And before, Control Your Narrative ended, he was like, okay, we'll figure out a way to make that happen. And he spoke to Austin. He said he was down for it. And of course, Control Your Narrative went in a different path and whatnot. And then I saw him at a show, and I got a chance to talk to him. I said, hey, I would love to have you as a guest on the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. You mind coming up, just talking about your story, your life, your career, things like that. He said, yeah, sure. And we have this little segment. It's called Promo School, where I pretty much cut a promo against my guests, and we just go back and forth, and we see, it's all in fun. Manifestation. I challenged them to a match, and now here we have it. Roosevelt versus Austin Aries this Saturday, and it's going to be something to be talked about for a long time.
Dude, it is. I'm excited. Like I always get amped, especially like the adrenaline. When you're doing commentary for these shows, you want to do a good job, and I try my best. But then, like when you see a card like this, you just can't help but be like, I'm going to have a blast because I'm just going to enjoy being there. Obviously, Austin Aries very decorated across the world, across the globe, but you are too. There's similar pictures on the internet of him holding all the titles, you holding all the titles. I mean, these are the two belt collectors of wrestling right now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. When I found that picture, I was like, oh yeah, this has got to go up. This is definitely got to be a comparison, side-by-side comparison.
And you've done a really good job of being the representative for SCC, and you've been wrestling, before Austin Aries probably even knew Squared Circle Champions existed. What does it mean to hopefully go in and retain your championship this Saturday and continue to represent SCC not only in the local North Carolina Wilkes County region, but now that you're going across the globe?
Oh, absolutely. There's no hope in retaining. I'm going to retain. Like Austin Aries is getting in the ring with Roosevelt, the man who likes to fight. We can go technical, we can go straight hand to hand, we can throw some kicks, whatever. But Austin Aries is in for a fight. If he wants the Square Circle Championship Wrestling World title, because I'm taking it across the world, he's going to have to fight. There's no choice. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. He's going to have to fight it out of my hands. And shout out to Jody Johnston. I mean, Jody is an amazing guy. Like, when I tell you this man is a blessing. I first met him years and years ago, before he got into the wrestling business. He has the comic book store, out there. And I was doing a show for I can't remember the name of the company at the time, but they brought me in as some talent, and they said, hey, you mind going to an autograph signing at one of our sponsors? I said, yeah, sure. And it's for Jody's comic book store. So I went out there, I did the autograph signing, we did like a little podcast interview, and ever since then Jody is like, yo, you're a really nice guy, blah, 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 you're really cool, thank you for coming to my store and doing this, doing that. I'm like, yeah, man, this is all part of the game, whatever. I had no idea it would build up to what we have now. Like, we have like a really strong brother relationship connection. In fact, Jody is the reason why I was able to go to Germany.
Really?
Yes. So it was just, I always believed that Father God would always send the right people at the right time, right when you need it. And I was sitting here, and I was looking online. I was looking for sponsors because I had to get some sponsors to help me get over there for the plane ticket. And Jody messaged me, hey man, what's going on? What you doing? I said, nothing. Just sitting here chilling, whatever. So how's everything your way? He said, everything's good. What you got going on today? I said, well, I'm sitting here looking up how to get some sponsors for this trip to Germany. And he said, okay, well, what's that about? So, well, I'm going over to Germany. I'm going to compete. I'm wrestling. I'm doing this, doing that. And he said, okay, well, what's the sponsorship? I said, well, I just need somebody to take care of the flight, either the entire ticket or half the ticket, like either way. And he said, well, how much is it? And I told him how much it was. And he said, okay, well, something will happen for you. Like, stay positive. I said, okay, cool. And then he messaged me like a couple of days later. And he said, hey, I want to help you out to get over to Germany. He said, I wish I could do more, but I'm going to do as best I can. I said, hey, man, any little bit helps. Like, I truly appreciate you being willing to reach out and say, you want to help or you want to do something. Like, not a problem. He said, yeah, whenever you get over there, take a shirt with you. So he sent me a shirt, a Square Circle Champions t-shirt. I said, yeah, definitely. Yes, absolutely. I said, yeah, definitely. So he sent the shirt in the mail. He said, I wrote a check and it's coming in the mail with it. I said, okay. He said, yeah, I wish I could do more, but this is all I could do for right now. I said, hey man, listen, I'm not picky. I'm not like you do more than enough for me already. And I got the package in the mail, and I opened it and I looked at the shirt before I even looked for the check. I was like, okay, it's a nice shirt. I like this. I put it on, it fit real nice, and I was like, okay, made me look big, you know what I'm saying? Look good. And I grabbed the card. He had a nice little card, and he was saying, I'm proud of you. Go out there and do your thing, show the world what I already knew. We all believe in you and whatever. And I looked at the check, and the check was the exact amount for the plane ticket.
No way.
Yes. In full. And I called him immediately. And I said, hey man, you ain't got to worry about paying me for another show.
Wow.
I said, because this right here is he said, look, man, I believe in you. Ever since the first time I met you, I believe in you. So anything I can do to help you, I'm going to do it. If it's within my power, within the means of me doing it, I'm going to do it. I have a movie that I'm preparing for. It's a wrestling movie. He wants to sponsor that.
Wow.
So Jody is a guy that when he said he believes in someone, he doesn't just say it, he shows it. He shows it. And I can't thank that man enough. Like anytime I post on social media, Roosevelt versus this person, he messaged me immediately. Hey, can you get their contact information? Like, yeah, sure. All right, I'll get in contact with them. I'll see what it costs, and I'll make it happen. Jody is Jody. There's a lot of companies I worked for. Okay, a lot of promoters I've worked for in 15 years, and Jody is one of maybe 10 that have actually shown me that they appreciate who I am as a talent, who I am as a man, who I am as a father. And I've never had any issues. I've never had to, hey man, you shorted me on this. Hey man, this didn't happen. Hey, like a lot of them have shown me my worth more than what I knew myself. Sir Mo was another one who was like, oh, thank you, no, you ain't got to thank me. You deserve this. Jason Maldonado from Lit Wrestling out in Arkansas is another one. When I first worked for them, for Chaotic Kingdom Wrestling, he said, hey man, what's your rate? I said, well, I usually do about this much. He said, oh, I was gonna give you this. And it was like more like probably like 100 more than what I was asking for.
Oh, really?
And I was like, okay. He said, yeah, man, you're worth it. He paid me what the rate was, took care of my flight, took care of my hotel. I didn't have to worry about nothing. Uncle Mo does the same thing. Jody does the same thing. Takes care of whatever I need. There's so many different promoters that do that. The guys out in Germany wants to do the same thing. The company out in the UK, when I go out there in January, is doing the same thing. Torture Chamber Wrestling out in Canada is doing the same thing. Victory Ring is doing the same thing. Like all these companies are like, yo, man, we want you to see what we see. We want you to know that we see you and we understand. We know you're worth what you're asking for. You're worth more than what you're asking for. My co-host Brian Renegade tells me all the time, yo, man, you shorten yourself. Like, well, it's wrestling, it's independent wrestling. No, man, I get it. But you could really ask for a lot of money and get it because you're worth it. He tells me all the time. He's like, yo, man, we were talking the other day because we're planning on some really big things.
Yeah.
And he says to me all the time, all I want you to do is keep promoting yourself. And everything else to be taken care of. I'm like, yeah, man, but I got to go to job. He said, no, don't. I was applying for a new job. He said, no, don't apply for a new job. I said, man, I got to get some money. He said, don't apply for a new job. I want you to do what you're loving and you're enjoying. Don't apply for a new job. I said, all right, B. And then, you know me, I'm sitting there like, yeah, all right, here I go. On Indeed, you know, I'm going to apply for this job, And it always happens in the weirdest way. I'll be on the internet and I'm looking for jobs, and then he'll send me a message. Hey, man, what you doing?
Oh, it's that weird accountability thing.
Yeah. and I'll be like, nothing, man. And sitting here on Indeed. He's like, hey, man, did you drop a video? I'm like, drop a video of what? I don't know. Just some content. Go do something. All right, as soon as I finish this, say, nah, man, I need you to do this. Or he'll send me a proposal. Hey, man, this is something I wrote up for you. Go talk to these schools and do this. We're working on a after-school program for kids and teenagers.
That's awesome.
The title of the program is Titan Athletics Program. The subcategory is going to be Project No More, because we've had too many school shootings recently. We've had a lot of bomb threats happening. We have a lot of kids losing their lives too early. It's no more. It's time for no more. So Project No More is going to give the kids an outlet, something to do, something to look forward to, help them train in MMA, boxing, professional wrestling, self-defense, self-confidence, self-esteem, public speaking, acting, everything. I'm going to incorporate everything that I've ever done in my life and help these kids be able to do something better than just want to beat each other up or kill each other. You know, so Project No More in association with Titan Athletic Program is going to be is in the works right now. I'm in talking to a couple of schools here in North Carolina in the Wake County area, and some of them are really interested. They're like, okay, well, let's see how we can make this work. How can we do this? So be on the lookout for that. We got a company that we're putting together, a wrestling company. So be on the lookout for that. And we also are putting together a performance center, kind of like what WWE has. So we're working on trying to get that together. So I got my hand in a lot of different things, man. I always say you can't be Mr. Everything if you can't do it. And it seems like that Mr. Everything Monica just won't leave me alone.
It won't
leave me. No matter how much I'm trying to get away from it, it just won't leave me alone. Because I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. Oh, well, got to go do this now. Okay, I got to go do this. And even my lady, she's like, baby. She's like, where you at this weekend? I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. Okay. Well, where you at next weekend? Oh, I got this going on. Okay. Well, where you at? She says, man, I love you so much. Your schedule is so hard to keep up with. I just got to ask you every day. So if you get upset, like, just know I'm not trying to, keep up with you. I just want to make sure that I'm available for whatever you may need. Like, she's an amazing woman. Amazing. Wow. But it's like that, man. Like, I got my hand in everything. And when it all comes together, it's going to benefit people around the world.
Dude, that's awesome. Like, I related to a lot of what you said, like from the Jody story. Like I know a couple Jody stories where he's done stuff for other people, and I won't embarrass him too much on the podcast, but like very similar to what he did for you, like just going above and beyond for people for no other reason than the person he is. Literally, like my mom approached him, like, one time after a SCC show, and she's like, I want to introduce you to Michael. Like, he does podcasts, whatever. And, he's like, oh, Shannon? And this is your mom? Your mom's cool. Do you want to do commentary? And I'm like, I mean, I've never done it, but I mean, I was not in my head like, yeah. And he's like, I got you. And here I am thinking like, okay, he's going to totally forget. Like, this was a conversation after the show. Like, you know how that goes. Yeah. And then he reached back out to me and he's like, here's the day I'm thinking. Do you want to do it? I'm like, oh, you were serious? Yeah. And and he keeps inviting me back. It's an absolute blast with Shannon, and then talking about your schedule, man. Like I feel that, like if I showed people my Google Calendar, they look at me and they're like, "What?" Like I used to not keep a calendar until this summer when I launched Boom Broadcasting, and now I have to because I lose stuff, I forget stuff,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Why you pack out your schedule?" And I'm like, "Because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Like I love it. Like I'm very passionate about, especially guys like, fulfilling their passions and fulfilling their dreams as they, get into this adulthood to where it's not just, hey, I go to this job to pay the bills and then I go home and then I'm like, well, what'd you do to enjoy life? Because we only got like a short amount of time. And they're like,
Yes.
well, I worked and I came home and I was tired. I never
Yes.
want to be that. I never want to be that, Roosevelt. Like there's just no point. So I'm glad you're in the spot where you can also pursue your dreams and your passions and book every weekend. Like this is going to be a treat to get to see you this Saturday.
And you get to see the Roosevelt version of what I've done. A lot of people when they see what Roosevelt does and what Victor Andrews has done, they're like, "Yo, it's two different people." they literally look at me like, "Yo, you've had all this inside all this time." Like, yeah, it's like the scene from Avengers, the very first Avengers, when Bruce Banner was getting ready to just got to where the fight was,
I knew
and
I should.
Captain America was like, Bruce, this is the time where you might need to get angry. He said, "That's my secret. I'm always angry. That's me. I'm always angry. I'm always ready to fight. I may not look like it sometimes. I'm walking around with a very calm, easygoing demeanor, but I'm always on ready. I'm always my lady picks on me all the time. She's like, "Baby, it's okay." I'm like, what? What are you talking about? See, you don't have to look like you can beat up everybody. I'm like, I'm not. I'm chilling. I'm okay. I'm like, no, you're scaring some of the people in the restaurant. Smile a little bit or something.
This is why I'm glad we did this interview virtually versus in the same room. So like if I asked a certain question, I wouldn't get a, punch to the face or, get into the revolution log or something like that, But we're approaching the end of Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast. You have a podcast as well. You're going to be in Ferguson, North Carolina this Saturday, Mount Pleasant Elementary School at Squared Circle Champions Wrestling Austin Aries. I know you're going out of the country more. Your weekends are booked. Is there anything else you would like the people to know and where they can find you and support you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I need more followers on TikTok. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm trying to get to 10,000. I'm very close. So you follow me on TikTok, official_ Mr. Everything. And I've been saying I need to change the handle on that for the longest. But again, that Mr. Everything just won't let me go. But I have a couple of movies coming up. I'm working with Street Nerds Productions. One of my trainees, Maverick Vo, he will be in action this Saturday as well. We have a movie that we're getting ready to go into production for. It is Birds of Prey. It's a fan-made version of Birds of Prey from the DC Comics. It is a follow-up from his first movie, Nightwing Rebirth. And you can find that on YouTube, Nightwing Rebirth. I play Bronze Tiger. So my character, Bronze Tiger, is coming back in Birds of Prey, and I'm a menace in this movie. The first movie, I had a little small scene. I got my butt kicked by Robin. Immediately on Birds of Prey, I am the main villain. So I'm excited about that. We're working on some different things. We're going to actually use some wires. I've never done stunts with wires. So I'm excited, man. Like I've never gotten so excited about something ever in my life like this. So it's going to be fun. Yeah, man, I'm just all over the place. I'm just ready for life to keep lifing in the best way. That's just the best way I can put it. And of course, finding me on the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We talk about all kinds of different things. We just had a young lady named Charisse. She was on last week. She's an author, and she came up and told her story about her book that she's written and why and everything else. Next week, we have Shane Mercer, who's been making waves all over the place.
Yeah.
And
You
we're
had
working on
Caprice
some.
Coleman too.
Yeah, we had Caprice Coleman, we had Ron Simmons, we've had R-Truth, we've had Gangrel, EC3, Rhett Titus, Ricky Morton. Like we've had some really good, and a lot of these people are because I have a connection with them. Like Ricky is Uncle Rick to me. Like a lot of these guys are like uncles. Like, hey, Unc, how you doing? Working on Koza Ono, Sonny Ono. Working on Sonny Ono. We already scheduled time for him to come on. Kenny King is supposed to come on pretty soon. Working on Brock to come on if he answers his ex. Brock, if you're watching, well, answer your ex. Answer your inbox. That man does not answer his inbox. He's got to be the worst person to ever respond to a text or a message. I got to contact CW. I'm like, CW, can you tell Brock to answer my daggone text before I go and beat him up? But yeah, man, we all over the place. We making some things happen, so I'm excited.
Man, that's awesome. Now I know as soon as I throw my phone up here, I'm gonna mess with my lighting, so I'll end the show pretty quickly after this. But this is his TikTok, Mr. Everything, right there. You see how close he is to 10,000?
You see how close? Make it happen.
You see how close? That's what you need to do as soon as you're done watching. Drop the mic. If you guys enjoy this, we're on the path to 500 subscribers. We're in week 12 right now of Boom Broadcasting. So if you enjoy this interview, if you enjoy the content we're doing, just hit us to subscribe. You know, text a friend, say, hey, I really enjoyed this interview with Roosevelt. Hey, A, you should watch it. And B, you should come Saturday, Ferguson, North Carolina, Mount Pleasant, Elementary School. Roosevelt, thank you. I'm glad I got to meet you and virtually, so you didn't punch me. And instead, and I'm excited to see Roosevelt as opposed to Victor Andrews this Saturday, Ferguson, North Carolina, when you defend your championship against Austin Aries. But guys, this is all we had for Drop the Mic today. Appreciate you guys. Follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. But we gotta get out of here. Whatever you do, don't drop the mic. Out of Pocket, my sports show, will be back live 5:30 to 6:30 tomorrow, Thursday. Catch quick hits from earlier today with Shan Smith. He'll be at SCC this weekend as well. His episode dropped at 9 a.m. We had Sideline Savants, a fantasy football show, drop at noon. Drop the mic, obviously taking over the 3 p.m. time slot. The Lombardi Party, a Green Bay Packers podcast. Gross, but I appreciate my guy Carson. I don't like the Packers, though. He dropped his episode tonight at 6. And yeah, Out of Pocket will be back tomorrow, 5:30. And Drop the Mic will be back next week on Wednesday. And guys, don't drop the mic. We'll catch you here next week.